Citizens of Damascus never joke about their oil. Why? Because it's Syria's business. Any jokes about Edom, apart from your score, would be much appreciated. Question 1. A man called Eliezer of Damascus was steward to this man, and stood to inherit all that his master owned if he had not had a son. Who was that? Was that Adam, Abram, Adonijah, or Abimelech? And Eliezer was steward to Abram in Genesis chapter 15. Question 2. King Asa took the treasures of the king's house and something else and delivered them to the king of Assyria that dwelt in Damascus, and entreated him to help him defeat the king of Israel. What was the something else? Was it all the silver and gold that were left in the treasures of the house of the Lord? The title deed to the city of Damascus that his father had captured? 40 camels' burden of all the goods of Judah? Or the Ark of the Covenant? And King Asa took the treasures and all the silver and gold that were left in the treasures of the house of the Lord in 1 Kings chapter 15. Question 3. The Lord told Elijah, "Go, return on thy way to the wilderness of Damascus, and when thou comest, anoint Hazael to be king over Syria, and Jehu the son of Nishmi shalt thou anoint to be king over Israel." He then told him who to anoint to be prophet after him. Who was that? Was that Esau, Eliezer, Elisha, or Eliphaz? And anointed as prophet was Elisha in 1 Kings chapter 19. Question 4. This man said, "Are not Abana and Pharpar, rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Israel? May I not wash in them and be clean?" And he almost missed out on being healed. Who was he? Was that Nathaniel, Nathan, Nabal, or Naaman? And that was Naaman in 2 Kings chapter 5. Question 5. Elisha went to Damascus, and the king, Ben-Hadad, sent him a gift and a question. What was the question? Was it, "Will you dine at the palace tonight? Shall I recover of this disease? Should I go to battle with the king of Judah? Or what are the dimensions of the altar on which you burn your sacrifices?" And Ben-Hadad asked Elisha, "Shall I recover of this disease?" in 2 Kings chapter 8. Question 6. What message did King Ahaz send to Arijah the priest when he visited the king of Assyria in Damascus? Was it a battle plan about how they could defeat the Assyrians? The description of the type of worship that the Assyrians offered their gods? The design of the altar on which the king of Assyria burnt sacrifices? Or a description of the types of feasting and fasting that the Assyrians did? And he sent him the design of the altar in 2 Kings chapter 16. Question 7. This king sacrificed unto the gods of Damascus, which smote him. And he said, "Because the gods of the kings of Syria helped them, therefore will I sacrifice to them, that they may help me." But they were the ruin of him and of all Israel. Who was he? Was that Ahaz, Adonijah, Artaxerxes, or Abimelech? And sacrificing unto the gods of Damascus was Ahaz in 2 Chronicles chapter 28. Question 8. 2 prophets prophesied that God would kindle a fire in the wall of Damascus, and it shall consume the palaces of Ben-Hadad. Who were they? Was that Isaiah and David, Ezekiel and Zechariah, Hosea and Obadiah, or Jeremiah and Amos? Prophesying were Jeremiah and Amos. You'll find it in Jeremiah chapter 49. Question 9. From whom did Saul seek letters before he went to Damascus to persecute the disciples of the Lord? Was that from Caesar, Pontius Pilate, the high priest, or the Sanhedrin? And Saul wanted letters from the high priest, according to Acts chapter 9. Question 10. Paul stood before this man and testified, Whereupon I was not disobedient unto the heavenly vision, but showed first unto them of Damascus, and at Jerusalem, and throughout all the coasts of Judea, and then to the Gentiles, that they should repent and turn to God. Was that in front of Herod, King Agrippa, Caesar Augustus, or the centurion Julius? And Paul was standing in front of King Agrippa in Acts chapter 26. Right, a 2-center quiz, moving on to Edom. Question 11. This man had his name changed to Edom because he asked his brother Jacob to give him some of the red pottage that he was eating. Was that Adam, Esau, Shem, or Ham? And that was Esau to Edom in Genesis chapter 25. Question 12. The father of the Edomites lived in a mountain area. Which mountain was it? Was that Mount Ararat, Mount Sinai, Mount Seir, or Mount Horeb? And he lived in Mount Seir, according to Genesis chapter 36. Question 13. The land of Edom had kings in what time relation to Israel having a king? Was that before Israel had a king? At the same time that Israel got a king? After Israel got a king? Well, the Bible doesn't tell us. And the land of Edom had kings before Israel had a king, according to Genesis chapter 36. Question 14. Who sent a message to the king of Edom, asking permission for the children of Israel to pass through Edom on their way to their new country? Was that Aaron, Korah, Miriam, or Moses? And Moses asked in Numbers chapter 20. Question 15. Edom refused to give Israel passage through his border. What did the children of Israel do in response? Did they go through anyway and slaughtered all the Edomites? They went through in small groups, traveling at night. They turned away from him and stayed out of the borders of his land. Or they sent another messenger with choice gifts to ask him again. And the Israelites respected the decision and turned away. In Numbers chapter 20. Question 16. The first book of Samuel tells us that when this king had secured his grasp on the throne, he fought against all his enemies on every side, against Moab, Ammon, Edom, and against the kings of Zobah, and against the Philistines, and wherever he turned he was victorious. Who was it? Was it Saul, David, Solomon, or Rehoboam? And victorious was Saul, according to 1 Samuel chapter 14. Question 17. Who was the king that made a navy of ships in Edom? Was that Saul, David, Solomon, or Rehoboam? Making the navy was Solomon in 1 Kings chapter 9. Question 18. Jeremiah prophesied that Edom would be made desolate. What did he say that people who see it will do? Will they vomit? Start immediately to rebuild the ruins? Close their eyes and pretend that they do not see it? Or be astonished and shall grasp at all the plagues that they see there? And the people would be astonished at all the plagues in Jeremiah chapter 49. Question 19. Joel also prophesied that Edom would be a desolate wilderness, but why was that? Was it for the violence against the children of Judah? Because they had shed innocent blood in their land? Both of the above? Or because the descendants of Esau were cursed? And Edom would be desolate because both of the first two reasons, according to Joel chapter 3. And question 20. Which other Old Testament prophet spoke a prophecy against Edom in the opening words of the book named after him? Was that Obadiah, Zechariah, Nahum, or Micah? And that was Obadiah in the first chapter. So, what grade would you give yourself?